Jake, we're back, and I don't know if you caught it, but I kind of botched our live take yesterday on.
Yeah, I looked for it and I was like, oh, something weird must have happened with the video.
It's a bummer because I'm such an Instagram rookie. I think it can only do 4 minutes on stories if you take a video, and so I think it just cut off, and I didn't realize it till it was kind of too late, and then I was like, well, it's in the past. We're on Psalm 77 now, baby.
And here we go.
Well, this is cool. I love what's happening here. So I read it in Nate, our friend Nate gave me this message devotional Bible, and I read it this morning, and it had a little commentary on Psalm 77, and it was kind of cool. We've seen some similar stuff, but I just really like I'm liking how in the Psalms we're seeing real models for how to pray and do things. And so this one was kind of cool because Asaph, or whomever Asaph, the line of Asaph, whoever wrote it, is pretty bummed out in the beginning and really struggling. And so you could imagine someone like in our situation, like struggling with something, coming in prayer and really like not holding back. And I think that's a key thing here, is remembering that, whoever you are watching, when you are wrestling with something tough, like we've done a whole series on this, but bring it to God and don't hold back. But then I love sort of there's this transition where basically the prayer shifts into remembering and sort of like reciting, saying out loud all the good things that God has done, and all the good things that God has brought into the life of this psalmist. And the kind of little point that Eugene made on this devotional was he talked about pity and self-pity. And it's helpful because he says pity is actually a really noble emotion. Pity is when we're able to enter into the pain of someone else. But self-pity is like the opposite, and it's where we basically are only focused on our own, struggles and our own issues. And so he just talks about with prayer, even coming with the self-pity is okay, but if we stay there in that place, it's sort of a dead end. And so the way he says it is, don't worry about the words that start you praying. It's like, it doesn't, like what we've talked about before, quoting John Tyson, like pray what you've got, right? Just don't let them become a dead end though and get stuck there. He says, let them lead you to higher ground where self-pity is transformed into worship. And so that was pretty cool. And we kind of see that modeled in the Psalm.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I also totally took note of the way it moves from, in my notes, I just kind of wrote, the psalm moves from a place of distress to a place of faith. And verse 2, he says, when I was in distress, I sought the Lord. And that's the NIV of it. But then, like you mentioned in verse 10, there's this shift, right? Then I thought, to this I will appeal. The years when the Most High stretched out his right hand. And then he goes and he rattles off all of this stuff about God, about God's holiness, about how mighty and strong God is, about specific stories. I love verse 19, your path led through the sea, your way through the mighty waters, though your footprints were not seen. That's a cool way of
Yeah.
what God did for Israel. And it just made me think of a couple of things. One of the most helpful definitions of the word faith that that I've come across. It's out of the Keyword Study Bible, but it basically defines faith like this: faith is a belief, conviction, persuasion that something is true that results in the transformation of one's life and character. A lot of us can think a lot of the times, I know that for a long time I kind of thought that faith was just kind of believing in things, but you couldn't necessarily back them up, but you just kind of believe in it. anyways, but faith is built on solid ground. And it's not wishful thinking. It's a belief that runs deep, so deep, in fact, that it transforms the way we live our life and the way we believe. And the second thing is, where does faith come from? It comes from the Word of God. Romans 10:17. Faith,
Mm-hmm.
hearing the Word of God, and it just is a reminder in a very cool and poetic way of one of the massive benefits of being somebody who will take the time, and it's a motivator too, to be more of a person who will just read the Bible. And
Yeah.
not even necessarily do you have to study it in depth all the time or whatever.
Yeah.
Just read it, and
Mm-hmm.
and just to read the stories. Like, I know that story of Israel, God brings them through the Red Sea when the Egyptians are chasing them down. That's been a story that's come to my mind a lot, and it's really encouraging to know that I serve a God who's able to make a way where it seems like there's no way, and it results in the transformation of my life and the way I think and the way I pray. And we see that transformation happen through Psalm 77 and in kind of a cool way. So yeah, it's good stuff.
It's awesome. Well, it's Wednesday. Super stoked to hang out with students tonight, and then we'll be back in Psalm 78 tomorrow.
Beautiful.
All right, brother. Love you, man.
Love you, dude. Peace.